And welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United show. And I apologise for the delay on the live show. We are 5 minutes late, but my computer keeps going. It's really annoying me, and I was just waiting for it to quieten down, and it keeps going on and off. So look, I apologise for that. But in today's show, we've got an action-packed show, lots to talk about. Big stories just come out on Jude Bellingham today by the Disco Mirror, and also Jan. The Norwegian guy with links to Dortmund also said there's a club very advanced in the race for Jude Bellingham and suggested that Man United could be leading the race for Jude Bellingham. We will get into some big Jude Bellingham news in a second. About Jude Bellingham will be a summer signing, not a January signing, just to clarify. But Samuel Luckhurts got some inside information from people in and around Manchester United about their plan for the January transfer window. Do they plan on buying anyone? Do they plan on selling anyone? What is the situation? I mean, we know Wan-Bissaka, Ten Hag wants to get rid of, and we know Ten Hag wants it right back in. We also know Ten Hag wants attacking reinforcement. We know that's what Ten Hag wants. But what has Samuel Luckhurts been told from inside people throughout Man United? We will dive into that. We will also dive into the news ahead of Manchester United Sociedad with Anthony Martial, Antony and Sancho all ruled out, which basically confirms the front three will be Ronaldo, Rashford, and I'm assuming either Alanga on the right, Pellistri on the right, Garnacho on the right, or Shalatery on the right. I assume maybe Pellistri could feature on the right-hand side. You never know. Or maybe he plays someone like Donny on the right-hand side. But there's three big injuries that we will get into in a second. There's also rumours that United are going to scout Benfica midfielder Enzo Fernandes. There's also news about Manchester United inquiring from Moises Caicedo. Pletigol and CM.com have both said that Manchester United are looking into Marcus Leonardo of Santos, kind of like the next Neymar, played for the same club Neymar played as well. And there's also reports from Ed Aarons coming out that United are interested in Rennes and Ghana winner Sulemana, as well as other news on people like Rafael Leao, Osimhen, Ivan Toney, of course, the Gakpo news and all of that. But I want to dive right into the news. I want to dive right into Samuel Luckhurts' big story that he's got from inside sources within Old Trafford about their plans for Wan-Bissaka, Ronaldo, bringing in people, getting rid of people as well. But before I get into that, I do want to say, guys, please do smash that like button. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. That's it. Jan Fortoff, I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but Jan Fortoff, I think, is saying that there's one club very advanced in the race for Jude Bellingham, very advanced in the race to sign Jude Bellingham next summer. And on the same day, Jan said that. There's a big report about Man United getting Bellingham coming out today as well. Garnacho will play since Jadon Anthony will not play, maybe, but it could be Alanga as well. There is even rumours that Ten Hag wants Diaz from Milan. I mean, Ten Hag wants everyone at the moment, but as Samuel said, Manchester United should sell all the deadwood. We've got a lot of deadwood to sell, and I do agree with that as well. And big blow, no, Martial, Antony, and Sancho in a crucial match. I know, we've got to win this match. Obviously, we will get out the group, which is important. But for me, it's massive that we win this match because, you know, we don't want to be playing who drops down. Do you know a funny story, people? Atletico Madrid, can we all just take a minute to smash that like button and go, fuck you, Atletico Madrid, because I am sorry, Atletico Madrid knocked us out the Champions League last season for the most dodgy refereeing, most jammy refereeing I've ever freaking seen. It was a disgrace. So to watch Atletico Madrid not go into the Europa League, be completely knocked out of Europe, I sit down and I say, fucking brilliant. So smash that like button if you, like me, are a salty bitch about what happened last season in the Champions League and you were glad that that bloody Atletico Madrid side is out of Europe. Lol. But Juventus will be coming down, Barcelona will be coming down, Ajax will be coming down, it will be Dortmund, I think, or Sevilla coming down as well, which will be a good side. There's potential that AC Milan, Leipzig could all potentially go down, a couple other teams that could go down that are quite good clubs into Europa League, so it's really important we win that game. But I quickly want to throw out, people, that this video, before I even get into the news, and I've just done 4 minutes of waffling, so I do apologise, but I just want to quickly throw out that this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. As you can see on my screen, I've got the OneFootball app out. They've reminded me of the players that will be out of the clash tomorrow against Real Sociedad. Sancho's injured, Sancho's ill, Antony's injured, Martial's been left out because he's just returned. Lindelof has recovered in his back, and Wan-Bissaka will finally be back as well. And the travelling squad ahead of Manchester United's Europa League game will be De Gea, Dubravka, and Vitek in goal. Lindelof, Maguire, Martinez, Tyrone Malacia, Diego Dalot, Luke Shaw, and Wan-Bissaka are the defenders, with Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Fred, Casemiro, Pellistri, Donny van der Beek, Scott McTominay, and Sedan Iqbal being the midfielders. But as you can see, the attack is very thin in Ronaldo, Rashford, Anthony Elanga, Sholatiri, and Garnacho. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more, make sure you download the OneFootball app. There's a link in the description, link pinned in the chat to go and get the OneFootball app, which will be sponsoring today's video, as you can see on the screen. But this is obviously the travelling squad ahead of tomorrow's game, and Jude Bellingham is linked to everyone, and there's rumours of Jude Bellingham being £129 million. Now, I'm going to say this now. Jude Bellingham is not worth £129 million. Jude Bellingham is a little overrated because he's English, looks a little bit better than he is because he plays in the Bundesliga, but he is a very good talent. But I wouldn't pay more than £60 million for Jude Bellingham, and that's my opinion. Maybe I'd pay up to £80 million for him. If Ten Hag really wants him, I'd pay up to £80 million for him. I like Jude Bellingham. He's a good player. He improves the midfield. He improves United. But I've always thought he was a little bit overrated, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I don't watch lots of Borussia Dortmund. I'm just very sceptical about Bundesliga players, because Choupo-Moting, another player linked with Man United today, believe it or not, we've been linked to Choupo-Moting. I think we're linked to about 100 different players at the moment. I think the journalists are bored. They need some clicks, so they're just going to attend United for every player. But now Lewandowski's left the Bundesliga. Choupo-Moting's looking like a really good player. He's linked to Man United now, and I'm a bit nervous about buying people from the Bundesliga because I really don't rate the league. I really don't. I don't rate the Bundesliga. I just think, Sancho, Havertz, disappointment. It doesn't, no offence to the Bundesliga, but it doesn't seem like the best league in the world. Going back to La Liga that claim they're better than the Premier League. Atletico Madrid knocked out the group stage. Sevilla, I'm pretty sure, are getting knocked out the group stage, and Barcelona have been knocked out the group stage. So Atletico Madrid, which are the so-called best league in Europe, Real Madrid's the only one. Sorry, not Atletico Madrid. La Liga, which is the so-called best league in Europe, they still claim they're better than the Premier League. Real Madrid's the only team that got out of the group stage in the whole of La Liga. But all 4 Premier League teams got out of the group stage. Even though Liverpool having a crap season and Spurs were crap, they still got out of the group stage. So it's a little bit embarrassing that La Liga fans still think they're better than the Premier League. Then if it wasn't for Real Madrid, La Liga would be dead, because Barcelona are an embarrassment, Atletico Madrid are crap. Real Madrid are the only reason La Liga is relevant right now. Just saying. But I wanted to quickly go back to the topic of João Felix before I get into the Bellingham story and before I get into the Samuel Luckhurst exclusive story, which is really interesting. But someone said to me, Alice, we should be getting João Felix. And this is my opinion. Probably very different to yours. I don't think Man United should go near João Felix, because we need a striker that can score goals. João Felix is a great attacker, a great prospect. He can link up play. But we need a striker that actually scores goals. João Felix gets the odd goal here and there. United, in my opinion, need a proven goal scorer. We need someone that we know will come in and score 20 goals. I don't think you get that with João Felix. I think you get a good player, but he's got more to his game than goal scoring. He's got a lot to his game, João Felix. Very talented, but I think United need like a proven goal scorer. I generally do. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't have gone for João Felix. I don't know what you guys think, guys. Would you actually go for João Felix? Or are you a bit like me and a bit sceptical on João Felix? Paul says that Frimpong looks quality. He does. I would go for Frimpong in January, and I would try and get Ivan Toney in January, which I don't think we will. So then I would try and go for Gakpo for attacking depth. But Paul said doesn't really rate Felix either. I think he's a good player, but when you hear Atletico say 150 million for João Felix, I sit there and go F off. We need a proven goal scorer as well. And as Diego says, the link for the free OneFootball app is pinned in blue at the top of the chat as well. And Bellingham already agreed to go to Madrid, and Florentino is already in contact with Borussia Dortmund, according to multiple sources. Well, we will get into the Bellingham news because he is English, and there's a chance that he could go back to England, because Man United's closer to Birmingham, which is his home as well. And Big G said, as much as I would love Bellingham at United, he's a box-to-box midfielder where United need more of a tactical, creative playmaker. Frankie de Jong would suit better. I think Frankie de Jong would suit Manchester United better than Jude Bellingham. I'll throw that out now. I think my hair's a mess, so I do apologise. I think Frankie de Jong would be a better player for Man United than Jude Bellingham. However, Jude Bellingham is one for the future, and we're going to get into the story. So, interesting stories today. Let's dive into the transfer news, because we've been speaking for 10 minutes and we haven't actually gone into the main news point of this story. We will get back into the Sociedad game. We will get back into general discussion, but I do want to get some of the news out of the way. And this is the story that's come out from Disco Mirror, one of the only good people at the Mirror, who said Erik Ten Hag has been promised the necessary funds to rebuild a Manchester United team capable of challenging for the biggest trophies again. So you're thinking, oh, stories come out, PR spin, come on, that Erik Ten Hag has been promised the necessary funds to rebuild a Manchester United team capable of challenging for the biggest trophies again. So I sit here and I read this story and I go, well, surely that means we're going to be signing an attacker in January because, you know, if Antony's injured, if Martial is always injured, and if you know, Sancho is out ill, and you look at how thin the squad is for Sociedad, and you look at how thin the squad is in general, and then you look after the World Cup and realise United are scoring 2 to 3 games, Man United are playing 2 to 3 games a week. If we look at Erik Ten Hag coming out after games saying, you know, we need depth because we've got a lot of games coming up, we've got some quality fullbacks, but we need depth. You know, Ten Hag has basically said publicly without saying that he wants another right back. And he's also basically said publicly without saying he wants another attacker in. And you hear these stories that Man United have promised the necessary funds. You know, Ten Hag's promised the necessary funds to make Man United a team worth challenging again. You think surely United are going to go and sign some players in January. Now, we are linked to Jude Bellingham this summer. We're linked to a striker in the summer. We are linked to Frimpong in January. But Samuel Luckhurst, who gets inside information from inside United, say that United do not want to sign anyone in January unless Wan-Bissaka is sold, in which they might consider just recalling Laird from loan instead of bringing the right back Frimpong once, which is a freaking joke. And Samuel Luck also said that if Ronaldo stays, United will not sign an attacker, and United believe that Ronaldo will stay because of the lack of suitors. Now, obviously, you get your David Ornstein saying if Ronaldo goes, United will buy someone. You get some good sources saying Ronaldo will go. You get, like, the Athletics say they believe Ronaldo will go. And then you get sources like Luckhurst who've said that he's heard from inside United that Ronaldo will stay. Now, we will dive into all of that in just a second. We will dive into the January transfer news section of the show. But if Man United are backing Ten Hag, and if Man United want to make Manchester United great again, when I say Man United, I'm referring to the board, then that would surely mean that Manchester United make some serious investment come January. You know, look at the attacking situation. We need some depth in attack. I know we can't get players like Bellingham until the summer, but we could get Frimpong in January. We could get Gakpo in January. I think if we put a high enough bid in for Brentford, they'd even let us have Ivan Toney for January as well. And we will end up with Felix the Cat knowing the board. I know they're probably going for João Felix and get the wrong run as well. And go get you striker. He's better, of course, anyway. We could get Vlahovic, considering, you know what's funny, actually, bringing me back to this point. So Juventus are shit. Paul Pogba, he just keeps going to clubs that are shit. But Vlahovic, very good player for Juventus, would take him in a heartbeat. If Juventus don't finish in the top 4 of the Serie A, he'll want to move. And he's a player I think United could swoop up and try and get as well. He's a player that I seriously wouldn't be surprised if United end up swooping up and getting. But we're going to talk about the story that's come out regarding Jude Bellingham quickly from the Disco Mirror. So he's saying apparently that United are going to back Ten Hag to make Man United great again, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Disco Mirror also said, then this just came in, guys, this news isn't even an hour old. This is like news that's just come out. Just in, Manchester United revived their interest in signing Jude Bellingham. United know they must qualify for the Champions League if they have a chance of landing him. So it's basically been said that United are desperate to sign Jude Bellingham, but they know that if they want to get Jude Bellingham, they've got to qualify for the Champions League to have a chance of landing him. Now, we know Liverpool are favourites to get Jude Bellingham, but as things stand, it looks more like United will be in the Champions League next season than Liverpool. So, you know, that gives us an advantage. I don't know if we're finishing the Champions League or not, but right now, I think we could finish in the Champions League. But we have to spend in January. I'm going to go back to this. I believe the team that invests in January out of Tottenham, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool will be the one that finishes in the top 4. Even Newcastle, the team that invests in January will be the one that gets top 4. Because last season I said Tottenham Hotspur will beat Man U and Arsenal to top 4 because they went and got Kulusevski and Bentancur in January. Man United won't. If Liverpool go spend in January, if Chelsea go spend in January, which they probably will, and Tottenham go spend in January, and Newcastle all go spend in January, and United don't, we will miss out on top 4. Which again is why I believe it's important that we go spend in January. But the Disco Mirror also said that Ten Hag spent the summer pursuing Frankie de Jong, but now their attention has switched to Jude Bellingham, and that Manchester United have revived their interest in the 100 million rated England and Borussia Dortmund star Jude Bellingham. And Ten Hag and John Murtough held several meetings to identify Manchester United's summer transfer targets and have put Jude Bellingham top of the list. So, you know, there's a lot of reports about what Manchester United want to go out and do in January. And it was said that Ten Hag and Murtough had several meetings to identify Man United's summer transfer plans, and Jude Bellingham is top of the list. And if right now I go off what we've been told from all the reliable sources, what Fabrizio Romano said, what lots of sources have said, I get the impression that Man United want to sign Porto goalkeeper Diogo Costa, Leverkusen right back Jeremy Frimpong, Borussia Dortmund midfielder Jude Bellingham, PSV winger Cody Gakpo, and I believe a striker. We know that United will sign a striker in the summer. Remember that was said. I think they're the 5 key players identified. And David Ornstein did say if one of Manchester United's summer targets comes available in January, Man United could make the move and get the deal done earlier. Now, Bellingham won't be available in January. We know that for a fact. Frimpong could be available in January, but that depends on Wan-Bissaka leaving, who United will probably recall Ed, and so they don't have to spend money if Wan-Bissaka goes. You know what we're like. The other target, Diogo Costa, he will be a summer signing when we figure out the new contracts with De Gea situation, all that. Cody Gakpo will be available in January, but again, that is believed to be affected if Ronaldo goes or not. And someone like Ivan Toney, I don't know who United's ideal striker target is. We've been linked to Sesko, we've been linked to Ivan Toney, we've been linked to this Brazilian player from Santos that I'm going to talk about in a minute. We've been linked to a lot of players in January, but I believe if we get an attack, it will probably be someone like Cody Gakpo, because as we spoke about in my video a couple of days ago, PSV have put a £30 million price tag on Cody Gakpo because they need as much money as they need just money. They can't go and say, oh, 60 million for Gakpo. Gakpo will be available for 30 million in January. Gakpo wants the United move and United want Gakpo. So I think in terms of January moves, we're talking in today's video, the title is who's Man United's first January signing going to be? I think, believe it or not, it will be Gakpo or Frimpong, depending on, I think, who we sign, who we sell, and all of that as well. Someone said, while I agree La Liga has fallen, what spares the Premier League from La Liga is the billionaire owners and state-run clubs. If La Liga had the same money, things would be different. Yeah, I agree. The Premier League is clear of La Liga because of money. If you just joined the show, we were just talking about how the Prem is much better than La Liga at the moment, and that is because of the money. The Premier League, the last few seasons, has spent over $1 billion more than La Liga. The teams that finished 10th in the Premier League have the same amount of money as the teams that finished 4th in the Liga, so it is crazy as well. And Atletico confirmed they rejected a £130 million bid in the summer for João Felix, rumoured to be from United. I heard this as well, and I'll be honest, guys, I don't want United to sign João Felix. If we could get João Felix for like 30, 40, 50 million pounds cut price, I'm all for signing João Felix. But I don't think we should be spending 100 million on an attacker that doesn't guarantee you 10 plus goals a season when we need a goal scorer. For me, the money should be spent 40 million on Diogo Costa, the goalkeeper, 20 million on Frimpong, the right back. That's 60 million, boom. I think, get a 60 million striker in like Ivan Toney, it's 120. Get Gakpo in for 30 million, it's 150. Raise some money through sales and buy a 50 million box-to-box midfielder for me if you can't get Jude Bellingham. That's what I do. I think we're in a point where we need 3, 4, 5 signings that I don't want United to be spending more than really 100 million on one position. I want like 50 million pound players. I'm actually a big fan of a player from Lyon called Maxime Kakare, and I do think he could be a really good profile for United. I think if Wolves get relegated, I'd go for Nunes of Wolves. I think he's a good player. I think he would suit us more than Neves in terms of a partner for Casemiro. I think if Leicester get relegated, I'd go for James Maddison to give Bruno a bit of competition as well. I think there are some really good cheap box-to-boxes out there. Even Benacer, I think he's a good player as well. I think, while Man United are desperate for Jude Bellingham, and while Jude Bellingham is at the top of United's list of come for the summer, I do think if Jude Bellingham is being quoted at £130 million and your João Felix are being quoted at £130 million, in my opinion, everyone rates Jude Bellingham, everyone rates João Felix, that these young players are for the future. But imagine spending £260 million in the summer and all you get is Jude Bellingham and João Felix, when you could get Diogo Costa, Frimpong. You could get a really good up-and-coming box-to-box midfielder to play next to Casemiro from Lyon for like 30 million. You could maybe get someone like James Maddison if Leicester went down. You could maybe get an Oshmeen. You could maybe get a Gakpo, 6 players for all that price. That's why I, myself, think Bellingham and Felix are overrated. A lot of people sit there and go, Alice, you talk absolute crap. You know nothing, Alice. A lot of people might say that because Felix, Bellingham, great youngsters. But I just think value price incredibly overrated, in my opinion. I still think there are some absolute gems out there. I tell you what, King Min-jae of Napoli, defender. If United want a centre-back, this guy's got like a 40 million release clause or something, apparently. Kim Min-jae has been freaking good at Napoli. If you want a centre-back, go for him. I just think there's so many hidden gems out there that actually will be a lot less than Bellingham, a lot less than Felix. And while Felix and Bellingham are great talents, what I'm trying to get to is United in the past have gone for the obvious players, the João Felix, the Jadon Sanchos, these £100 million youngsters that are very flashy, very hyped up, a little bit overrated, but great players. I think Bellingham's a great player. I think Felix is a great player. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's the wrong approach. I think it's the wrong approach to be going and spending £100+ million on this one youngster, when I think there's just so many hidden gems in the Serie A, in Liga. I really do. And you know, at the end of the day, as long as who we sign is who Ten Hag wants, that's fine. You know, I think we massively overplayed on Antony. I don't think Antony was worth anywhere near £100 million. But my thought process and mindset is, if Ten Hag wants Antony that much, just go pay the money. Because we saw how much Ten Hag wanted Eriksen, he's been brilliant. We saw how much Ten Hag wanted Lisandro Martinez, he's been our best player. We saw that Ten Hag, you know, completely dropped the chance to get anyone else as soon as Casemiro came available. Look how good Casemiro has been. You know, we saw how good Malacia has been. And we've seen aspects of what Antony can do. So it's an interesting one. But for me, I think unless Ten Hag really wants him, I wouldn't spend crazy money. I don't know what your players are as well. Declan Rice would improve our midfield immensely. I don't think United need Declan Rice for another year or two, because Casemiro is absolutely brilliant as well. And Liverpool aren't getting top four. Smash that like button if you want Liverpool to bottle top four as well. Is there any update on former Liverpool sporting director coming to United? Not really. He's been linked more to Chelsea. I don't think he will come to United because of his links with Liverpool. But also, I think if you do get a sporting director, it probably will be Van der Sar, because of his links with the club, him being an ex-player, and because he obviously knows Erik Ten Hag as well. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom of the live chat, but that Napoli centre-back is really good and has been linked to United. If Maguire leaves, I do think United could make a move for Kim Min-jae, the Napoli centre-back. Another midfielder we should get is Edson Alvarez from Ajax, who United have been linked to as well. But I do think Chelsea have their eye on him. However, Tuchel has gone as well. Apparently, Alvarez said he'd like to play in City, though. Well, it's an interesting one, because apparently Ivan Toney's a massive Liverpool fan. But, you know, Raheem Sterling's a United fan. He's played for Liverpool, he's played for City, he's played for Chelsea, and not United. At the end of the day, there's a lot of players that will be massive Liverpool fans but will go play for United. I think Conor Cody's at Everton. He's a Liverpool fan, isn't he? Trent Alexander-Arnold's actually an Everton fan. Harry Kane apparently is actually an Arsenal fan. It's actually crazy, like, how, like, players will do play for teams as well. Ivor says, don't you think we should trust Laird as Delo's competition? I believe that bringing in Frimpong would be bad because they're at the stage of their career where they both want to start. Yeah, you could say it like that, but I think it's good competition with Malacia and Shaw, Frimpong and that. I think Ethan Laird's a great player, but I don't think he's the level of competition Delo needs. I think Delo needs someone that actually could get in and start giving him a kick up the arse. Do you like Hassan Al? Yeah, I do. Did he go to Forest in the end or not? Am I just being an idiot as well? But yeah. But let me dive into the next story. But Prince says, steer clear of Bellingham. That's crazy money. We should buy 3 players for that money. And look, while I like Jude Bellingham, that is my thought process on it as well. You know, over £100 million. I think Nick said he could be around £130 million, which is absolute craziness. But this is the story again. If we scroll down to it, Manchester United revived their interest in £100 million rated England and Borussia Dortmund star Jude Bellingham. Over £100 million. But again, this would be something in the summer. This would be something that would happen in the summer. But the interesting thing that was said, actually, and I haven't really discussed it, I thought this was the most interesting thing that came out of this story. And if I go copy paste this into the chat here as well, it said that Manchester United spent the summer pursuing De Jong, but now the attention has switched to Jude Bellingham. Now, we know from good sources that United want a striker, United want a goalkeeper, United want a midfielder, and United want a right back. Our 4 priorities are goalkeeper, striker, midfielder, and right back. Now, we know the midfield priority has always been Frankie de Jong. We know that United love de Jong. We know that Man United are obsessed over Frankie de Jong. We all know that. But the news coming out is really kind of coming out and suggesting that actually Manchester United are kind of over Frankie de Jong and would potentially move their interest into someone like Jude Bellingham. Do you think that's a smart move, guys? Would you go for de Jong? Would you go for Bellingham? Do let me know in the chat, actually. Interesting to see. Comment if you rather have de Jong or Bellingham, because I think Bellingham is more long-term. But I think with de Jong, he suits the system more, is more what Ten Hag need. Thanks, Prince, for the super sticker as well. Big up, Prince, there for the little super sticker. Appreciate that as well. Gaz says he can't be asked with the World Cup. You know what? I can't be bothered with the World Cup. I think the World Cup's coming up at such a crap time. I just want, you know what? if Man United were playing shit, if Man United were like Liverpool right now and we were like 9th in the league, we were playing shit, and if Man United were like the Man United in February, March, I would have no issue with the World Cup. I'd be like, fine, I need a break from Man United, la-di-la-di-la. I'd have absolute no issue with the World Cup. But I think it's the fact that Man United are actually playing good. It's like, I don't want, the season's over in 2 weeks for nearly 2 months. I don't want to go, I'm just getting so into this project. I'm getting so into Ten Hag. I'm getting so into this project at Manchester United. I'm literally in love with Ten Hag. I'm literally in love with his project. I'm literally in love with the direction United are going. We're playing well. We're dominating games. We've got games coming up. I feel like before a game, I feel confident we're going to win. Like, I feel like even at Unai Emery's come in, it's going to give Villa the new manager boost. I'm confident Ten Hag's going to come in and whip Aston Villa's arse up. I'm confident we're going to win our next few games. We're going to beat Sociedad. United are playing so well. The squad morale is so happy. Everyone loves each other. There's talk of Ten Hag getting some investment in January. La-di-la-di-la-di-la-di-la. World Cup comes up. And I'll be honest, I'm not excited for the World Cup because, one, I don't rate Southgate in England are boring. Two, it's in winter, which, look, I appreciate that, different countries have different seasons and all of that. But it's going to be cold. I want to be sitting outside in the sun. And three, because it's in the middle of the season, it's not the end of the season, because it's bang in the middle of the season, I just feel a bit like I just want to watch United. I don't know if anyone else feels like that regarding the World Cup. But I just feel a little bit like, I want to watch United, if I'm being honest as well. We'd rather go for a striker than a 100 million midfielder. We do need a ball-carrying midfielder to play next to Casemiro, but United's number one priority for me should be a striker. And if I was going to spend 100 million on a position, I would spend 100 million on a striker. I agree with you as well. World Cup in November is the biggest day, I'm not going to lie. It is. I just personally don't like it. # cancel World Cup. I wouldn't care if the World Cup was cancelled. But then at the same time, I'm like, they've spent all those money building the stadium. So many people have lost their lives, for what? Imagine. So but I'm just not bothered about the World Cup as well. And Alice, which position signing can help us to improve the current squad if we sign one player? This is an interesting thing. What one player do you think would improve United the most? I'm going to ask you, if you could bring one player in right now in January, any player in the world, who do you think is really going to improve us the most? When I say any player in the world, any player in the world with some level of realism. Don't say Mbappe or Haaland or Virgil van Dijk. But if you could sign any player in the world with a little bit of realism, who do you think would improve United? Because I look at the way we play and I say we're crying out for a striker because Martial can't stay fit and Ronaldo's past it. However, if Martial can stay fit and has a run of games, we'll be looking quite good. I think the one position we don't have at all is that ball-carrying midfielder. Eriksen's doing a great job as a deep-line playmaker, but he's not a progressive passer. He's not someone that can carry the ball. So I would maybe say a Frankie de Jong, because you've got to consider the way Ten Hag plays. I think Frankie de Jong just ticks his every tick. Frankie de Jong, Casemiro as in midfield, you're sorted. Like, you are sorted. That is like that. That's all I can say about it. However, we've got a good midfield. Eriksen's a good player. Fred can do a job. McTominay can do a job. Donny, I expect, can do a job as well. Whereas at striker, you've kind of got no one. It's Ronaldo will do it, but he doesn't want to be here. Martial's made a glass, and Rashford's not a striker. We do need backup for Dalot, but if worst comes to worst, there is Wan-Bissaka. Maybe we need someone to send back. But I think if I was to sign anyone, I'd go Victor Osimhen. If I could sign anyone right now for United, I would go Victor Osimhen. I think I'd maybe even say Harry Kane. Actually, if it was someone I could bring in for free and click my finger just to be with us till the end of the season, I think Harry Kane could do that job. But I do also think we need that ball-carrying midfielder bit. It's a difficult one to really think, like, what should United's biggest priority be? I just don't know. Let me know down below. But I do want to get into the next news story as well. A lot of people saying box-to-box mid. Some people saying striker. A lot of people saying De Jong, Osimhen, Ivan Toney, Jude Bellingham. People say Gakpo. Someone said Kane here as well. Someone even said Felix, who I obviously am not a big fan of Felix. But guys, look, we're on 102 likes, so let's get to 200 likes. And also, we're nearly at 53,000 subscribers. By the way, we're on 52,938 subscribers. So if you are watching right now and you're not subscribed, please do go ahead and click that subscribe button. Because what are you doing? But I want to get into the Samuel Luckhurst story. This is a really interesting story. And Samuel Luckhurst obviously gets inside information from throughout Manchester United about who we plan to buy and sell. So here we go. So, breaking. Manchester United, and this is from Samuel Luckhurst, and this is from inside sources within the club, brief Samuel Luckhurst on this. So this is why these stories are important. However, you also have to take them with a pinch of salt. This story from Luckhurst said, breaking, Manchester United are not actively pursuing any incomings in the January transfer window as they approach the final week of the season before the World Cup. So he's basically been told from someone within the club that United aren't actively pursuing any January transfer windows. Does that mean we're not going to get anyone in January? No. Man United don't know what's going to happen to Ronaldo. United don't know what's going to happen with Wan-Bissaka. But United are not particularly active ahead of the January transfer window because we know that while Ten Hag wants a right back, while Ten Hag wants another attacker, the Glazers do not like utilising the January transfer window. They like to, in fact, the Glazers only like to utilise the January transfer window when it comes to their dividends. And they don't want to spend any money. And I think with the Glazers, they don't want to spend any money. But if we get in a situation where there's injuries at the World Cup where we have to spend money, they will. And I think they are trying to not spend money, but there could be situations where they do have to spend money as well. Then the second thing that Samuel Luckhurst said, which you guys will find interesting here. Let me get this up on the screen here. Again, Samuel Luckhurst was also told that sources have indicated their preference is to wait until the summer to start the second phase of the rebuild. So this is the interesting thing. Reportedly, Man United want to wait till the summer to start the second phase of their rebuild. And if I'm being honest, that does not shock me in the slightest because John Murtagh came out and said that United cannot wait till the summer and that we will start spending again in summer. John Murtagh never once said that United were going to spend in January. John Murtagh kept hinting that we were going to spend in the summer. But the interesting thing is Ten Hag keeps coming out and hinting that United should spend in January. Ten Hag keeps coming out, hinting and suggesting that Manchester United spend in January. Just after West Ham, Ten Hag said Delo's a great right back, but we need depth because we've got a lot of games coming up. It's very obvious he does not want Wan-Bissaka. He wants Frimpong him. When we beat Sheriff the first time 1-0, Ten Hag came out after the game and said, if the right player's available in January, we need to go out and get him. We need more depth. Ten Hag has basically hinted and suggested on multiple occasions that he wants reinforcements in January. But the board, because they're selfish bloody bastards, do you think the board want reinforcements in January? No, the board don't want to spend in January. Whilst Ten Hag's suggesting and hinting he wants reinforcement after reinforcement after reinforcement, the Man United board are trying to think of every excuse they can not to buy to say we can focus on the summer. But if Wan-Bissaka goes, we know from Romano, we know from Ornstein, that could maybe mean United spend in January. We know from The Athletic, if Ronaldo goes, that United are very likely to replace him with an attacker in January because the money it saves on the wage bill. However, this is the thing that I find really interesting. And remember, Luckhurst does get briefed by people inside Man United, but this is what I think is really interesting. And this is what really disappoints me. And this is what says everything you need to know about the United board. He said, should Wan-Bissaka secure a mid-season transfer, United have the option to recall Ethan Laird from a season-long loan. Now, for me, this is a joke. I like Ethan Laird, but that's not fair on Ethan Laird. He's on loan, let him do his loan. If you sell Wan-Bissaka, then you're sending scouts to look at this right back. Why don't you go buy the right back that you're sending scouts to watch? For me, this makes no sense. If Romano and Ornstein are saying United are desperately looking at this right back, Ten Hag wants this right back in January, Frimpong, United sent, Romano's confirmed we sent scouts to watch Frimpong on 2-3 occasions. A good 2-3 occasions United sent scouts to watch Frimpong. But now they're saying, we're going to let, and we know from Romano's confirmed we sent scouts to watch Frimpong on multiple occasions. Romano's confirmed that our priority in January is to sort out the Wan-Bissaka situation. We know from Romano that United want to get rid of Wan-Bissaka in January. That's the priority. And we know that we're looking at Frimpong. So why, if we're looking so much at this right back and we're desperate to get rid of Wan-Bissaka, will we get rid of Wan-Bissaka and recall a right back on loan that's not going to be much better than Wan-Bissaka? He probably is, but he's not going to give Delo proper competition. That makes no sense when you know that Ten Hag wants a right back. We know that the United have sent scouts to look at right back, and we know Ten Hag wants this player. Why would United sell Wan-Bissaka and not bring in the Bayer Leverkusen player who's a right back who will be available in January? Why would we go and recall Ethan Laird? Because the Glazers don't want to spend any money if they don't have to. And this is a big issue. Because this says to me, this is the board's mindset, this is the Glazers' mindset. We're not going to spend any money unless we freaking have to. Well, if you sell Wan-Bissaka, it's fine. We ain't buying you a right back till summer. You can have Ethan Laird, because they do not like to spend in January. And that's something that worries me, because I do worry. They come out today and they say they're going to back Ten Hag, make sure he's a serial winner and all of that at United. They come out today and they say all this crap United. But I sit here and I read articles like this and I listen to articles like this and go, you're full of bullshit. Because if you're really backing Ten Hag, you wouldn't be recalling a right back from loan. And I like Ethan Laird, but he's not good enough yet, as Michael said. Just having a swig of water. IQ Insane says they won't get top 4 then. And this is what I want to get into. For me, Manchester United need to invest in January. We need to. Top 4 is ours. But I think if we miss out on top 4, it's because we don't invest in January. And the thing that annoys me is, if we don't invest in January and we just miss out on top 4, the Glazers don't realise they'll lose more money. If the Glazers went to spend 30 million in January and brought in Cody Gakpo in January, and we get top 4 because Cody Gakpo goes and scores 10 goals and does what Luis Diaz did for Liverpool, or Kulusevski does for Spurs, and we get top 4, that 30 million they spend in January on Cody Gakpo is instantly repaid by the money we get for finishing in the Champions League, but also it means we can attract better players for the club and for cheaper wages. So the thing that really annoys me is that the Glazers are saying, oh, they don't want to spend in January, la-di-la-di-la, but we have top 4 in our palm. We win our games in hand. We are in 3rd place. We look like the 3rd best team in the Premier League. Right now, the best team is Arsenal, followed by Man City, probably followed by United, if you actually look and watch the team. Man United right now are the 3rd best team in the Premier League. Believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I believe that we are the 3rd best team in the Premier League, and I believe we could finish 3rd place. But what I do realise is, after the World Cup, there's going to be a game every 3 days after the World Cup. Players are going to get injured. Look at the injuries we have already. Imagine our injury list come after the World Cup, from January to May. You have to invest because players are going to get injured. We don't have the depth. And because we don't have the depth and players are going to get injured, we're going to drop off. If Casemiro gets injured and we have to start playing McTominay, look at the difference. Look at the difference when Varane gets injured. We already have to play a lower line. What's going to happen when Wan-Bissaka comes in and Dalot gets injured? We must invest in January. We already know we're already having injuries with the attackers. And we can see how that's ended up. Once we get injuries with the Casemiros or the Lisandro Martinez and the big players. For me, if we invest in January, we confirm top 4. I put my money on it. We sign a good striker in January, we get top 4. We do. I believe we'll get top 4. And I believe top 4 is in our hands. I believe we're the 3rd best team in the Premier League. But I believe if we don't spend in January, and Chelsea do, and Tottenham do, and Liverpool do, and Newcastle do, we're the team that will suffer for it because they will improve and we'll fall. And Man United don't want to spend in January because they'll say there's no one about. Bullshit. Two years ago, we could have got Caicedo in January for 4 million. Now we're thinking of buying him for 80 million. 3 years ago, we could have got Haaland in January. You know, just last season, we could have got Vlahovic in January, Luis Diaz in January, and Julian Alves in January, who Ragnick recommended. All of the players walk into the United squad and instantly improve us. But we didn't want to sign them in January. And if we want to get top 4, in my opinion, we must spend in January. I'm just going to take a quick swig of water, people. So thirsty, because I've just been talking about loads. But I agree with Marcus here. I think United need a striker and a right back. And as Diogo says, guys, over 401 people watching, so make sure you smash that like button. Smash that like button if you want Man United to finish in the top 4 and you want to see Liverpool finish 8th. Smash the like button if that's what you want. And of course, subscribe down below and make sure you check out the OneFootball app as well, people. There will be a link pinned in the chat. There will be a link down below to check out the OneFootball app as well. But Scousers in the mud. Going back to Jude Bellingham, I tell you what, Liverpool are creaming themselves over Jude Bellingham. Liverpool want Jude Bellingham and they want Jude Bellingham badly. Liverpool are desperate for Jude Bellingham. Liverpool are absolutely desperate to sign Jude Bellingham. Absolutely want him. You know, he's their number 1 priority. But if Liverpool don't finish in the top 4, they don't get Jude Bellingham in summer. And United are now in the race for Jude Bellingham. United are now desperate for Jude Bellingham. Ten Hag's now made Jude Bellingham a priority. Imagine this. Liverpool finish 8th. United finish 3rd or 4th, which I think to finish 3rd or 4th, we need to bring an attacker in January for depth. And we steal Jude Bellingham from Liverpool. That would be brilliant. I don't even want to spend 100 million on Jude Bellingham. I think Jude Bellingham's a good player. I just think he's overrated. But just the moment of stealing a player that Liverpool fans have been desperate and thinking they're going to get for 2 years from Liverpool, I think would be absolutely incredible. And maybe I'm just a psychopath towards Liverpool. You know, maybe I'm mentally ill because I'm enjoying the Liverpool downfall so much. Someone commented in one of my recent videos, you must be ill if you enjoy the Liverpool downfall. So that means I've got Ebola, AIDS, measles, mumps, every disease on the planet, because I am really enjoying this Liverpool downfall. And you know, my favourite thing is I can get the Premier League table up and actually I've got to scroll down to find that team. I've got to scroll down to find them. But their number one target, Jude Bellingham, probably will go Real Madrid, because everyone seems to go Real Madrid because Real Madrid just know what they're doing. They're some fucking club. But Ten Hag wants Bellingham. And I'll be honest with you guys, and I've never said this about United. I've never said this about United since the end of Ferguson. Never, ever. I've always said, if you're a young player looking to adapt your career and build your career, do not go to United. 2 years ago, even a year ago, if I was a young player, I would encourage them not to go to United. Even though I love United, when Jude Bellingham went to Dortmund and not United, best thing he did. When Haaland went to Dortmund and not United, best thing he did. If you're a young player looking to build your career, don't go to United. I've always been like that. You know, if you're a 21-year-old, you know, don't go to United, because we've been known since post Sir Alex for destroying careers. But right now, I look at Ten Hag, I look at a manager that can coach. He can coach, because look at Rashford, look at Dalot, look at the way we're playing. And I go, right now, if you're a young player looking for that big step up in your career, you want to work with Ten Hag. And it's mad, because last season and pretty much every season post Sir Alex Ferguson, if you're a Bellingham and you're looking to make that big move from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, if you're looking to make that big move, I'd say avoid United. Unsustainable Mourinho, Oli, unsustainable poor coaching. Look at Sancho, you know. I'd say avoid United. But right now, I think, I'll be honest, and I never thought I'd say this because we still have the Glazers in charge and things can still go wrong and it's still an unsustainable club, but I think United is one of the clubs to go as a young player. Right now, if I was a young player, if I was, I don't know, 22 and I was playing well in League Earn for someone like Leon and all of that, and some big clubs were looking at me, I'd like to go and play for Ten Hag. I think, okay, Ten Hag, look what he's doing at United. I can see him doing something at United. Same with Arteta. You know, Arsenal and United is where you go to ruin your career in the past. But right now, I look at the Arsenals and I look at the Man Uniteds, and if I was a young player, I'd want to go there. I see Liverpool are on the downfall, and Liverpool are going down again. Real Madrid is brilliant, absolutely brilliant and amazing, but they've just got everyone. They're so good. You don't always get guaranteed game time. Bayern Munich's boring. Serie A, I mean, Napoli's a great project, to be honest, but I feel like Man United's a bigger club than Napoli, even though Napoli are better than us right now. You know, I look at it and I go, well, Barcelona, spending lots of money, but Real Madrid, wow. But I generally think right now United is one of the clubs to go. And I'm not saying this because I'm a biased United fan, because I've always said, don't go to United. You ruin your career. I understand when players reject United, like young players that, you know, are maybe 21, 22. I understand it. But right now, I think Jude Bellingham would be brilliant going to United. I really do. I think that it would be a great move for him to play under Ten Hag. I think we've got a manager in Ten Hag where young up-and-coming players might want to join and play under him, because you look at Dalot, 22, boom. You look at Rashford, boom. You know, you look at what he did at Ajax. You know, you could see that De Gea is even improving, and you know, De Gea is using his feet more. You look at the overall coaching. This isn't just, you know, Ten Hag. This is obviously Benny that he's brought in. This is obviously McLaren. This is obviously Mitchell van der Gaard. But United has gone from a side where I would say to any player, don't go to United. You'll ruin your career. And I love United, but if I was a young player 2 years ago, I'd say it probably isn't the best move for my career to go to United. So actually, go to United. Ten Hag's the guy. And that's what I really like that Ten Hag's brought to United. And maybe that's me being biased. I don't know what your opinions on that as well are, but I do think United is the club to go to. Bellingham will end up at City, watch and wait, probably. My biggest fear is Man City getting Frankie de Jong as well. And we need to score goals. Our goal difference is +1. We do. My one fear with United is we are defending well. United is defending like a beast. United is defending like an absolute tank at the moment. But Man United aren't scoring enough goals at the moment. Man United aren't scoring loads and loads of goals. And I think that's why, again, we need an attacker in January. Maybe when Martial gets going and Sancho finds form, the goals come in. And, you know, maybe the more we play, the more we create chances, the goals come in. But I don't think United is scoring many goals. I mean, Pep is good with youngsters as well. Of course, Man City is such an obvious move. So obviously I'd put Man City in there as well. And United have ruined more youngsters than Jimmy Savile. I'll give you that. And problem with Arteta is he can't deal with big names. Arsenal will be a feeder club in the next years. I could see that. Ten Hag, can deal with big names. Ten Hag disciplining Ronaldo like that. That Ten Hag can deal with big names, deal with big mentalities. I do think, as good as Arsenal are this season, they will fall off. Arsenal will fall off. Man City, unfortunately, will win the league. But I do see players like Saka going to big clubs and Martinelli going to big clubs. I do see Arsenal being a bit of a feeder club. And Arsenal fans will lose it with me over that. But I do think you're right. I do think Arsenal's top players could all get poached up because they've got some good players. But I almost see Arsenal as a Borussia Dortmund at this rate, where they've got some good young players, but they'll come second behind the big dog, which is obviously Man City in the Bundesliga, Bayern. But actually, everyone's poaching players off them. I do want to get into the next story from Samuel Luckhurts because I've kind of gone on a bit of a ramble and I've not even got into the main story that I tried to get into this video. Again, so Cristiano Ronaldo's reintegration into the United first team squad, as well as his lack of enticing exit routes, could ensure he sees out the season at United. Next story coming up from Samuel Luckhurst is that Ronaldo could stay at United. So we know if Ronaldo leaves Man United, an attacker in January is very likely, says Ornstein, because obviously the money off the wage bill. We know from Romano, if Ronaldo leaves, again, United will look at attacking options. Luckhurst is now saying he doesn't believe Ronaldo will leave. And obviously the title of this video, or the thumbnail of this video, is Man United's first Jan signing. Who's going to be Man United's first January signing? This is what we're talking about in the video. And I'd say right now, no one. Right now, it's no one unless Ronaldo leaves, unless Wan-Bissaka leaves. We know that Frimpong and Gakpo are wanted by Ten Hag in January. We know that they are the two potential January signings. And the video is the first January signing. Who's going to be the first January signing? But it depends on who leaves. And I think if Gakpo's being quoted at 30 million and with the season he's having, United are crazy not to go for him, considering Ten Hag wants him and he wants the move. But, the board are idiots. Do you think Ronaldo's going to stay? Ronaldo doesn't want to be here. But do you think United could force Ronaldo to stay so they don't spend in January? This is the worrying thing because we have the Athletic on one hand saying Ronaldo's very likely to leave. Ten Hag's going to let Ronaldo leave and United will get a replacement in. And then on the other hand, you hear United aren't going to bring in anyone in January because they're going to keep Wan-Bissaka and they're going to keep Ronaldo as well. Now, I obviously want to get into this story here about what United do plan to do in January and the summer. Again, Luckhurst, who is briefed by inside sources inside Manchester United, has said this. A goal scorer has already been identified as United's priority position in the next year, and a right-back is likely to be targeted as the manager was keen on reinforcing that area in the summer. So a goal scorer has been identified as the priority position next season and a right-back. Now, this is interesting, but they say that Ten Hag is keen on reinforcing that area in the summer. And this is where Luckhurst is wrong. This is where it's a lie. This is what Ten Hag wants in January. We know that Ten Hag's number one priority in the summer is Jude Bellingham. We know that Ten Hag wants a Jude Bellingham profile midfielder in the summer to go in and slot alongside Casemiro. That's Ten Hag's priority, a Jude Bellingham type player in the summer. But we know in January, Erik Ten Hag wants a right back, and we know Erik Ten Hag wants a striker, and we know he wants them in January. The question is, will the board let him have that? That's the question. He wants a striker and a right back in January. He then wants a goalkeeper in the summer, a midfielder in the summer, and another attacker in the summer. They're the 5 players he wants in 2023. And Man United are going out and they're telling their sources they're going to back Ten Hag and do whatever possible to make sure Ten Hag wins all these trophies and stuff at United. And I sit here and I look at Ten Hag and I look at what Ten Hag's done in such a short period at United. I look at how he's turned Man United around in such a short period of time. I look at the squad morale. I look at every player who looks happy to be at United, playing together, the happiness, the morale of Manchester United is so positive. I look at everything going on in and around United and I go, wow, Ten Hag's a miracle worker. This team that was bitter, toxic and foul just a couple months ago is all working hard, all playing together. And that defence that was leaking 50 million goals a game is now keeping clean sheets with Maguire in it. I look at Ten Hag, I look at Rashford, I look at Delors, I look at the coaching, I look at the way we're playing, I look at the system, I go, fuck me. Ten Hag, wow. He's doing better than I thought. Like, he's changed the mentality. He's coaching players. He's improving players. He's playing a good system. His signings, Lisandro Martinez, has been the best centre-back in the league. My God, the guy that Jamie Carragher and little old Souness were going, he's 5'9", he's 5'9", he won't make it, he's 5'9", before he even kicked a ball. Best defender in the league. Ten Hag's bringing in great players. Ten Hag's coaching. Ten Hag's changing the mentality. Ten Hag's dealing with off-the-field issues. Ten Hag's got us playing good football. Ten Hag's got us basically in the top 4 right now, considering the start of the season we had and considering most of us predicted to finish 8th. I look at everything Ten Hag is doing, and I look at all of that and I go, wow. I go, wow. I go, back this man. Motherfucking back Erik Ten Hag. Because I'm sorry, he's great. And the board need to back him in January. The board need to back him in the summer. And they say they're going to back him. They say, we will back Ten Hag. But then they're then saying, we'll do it in the summer. If you're really backing Ten Hag, you go, top 4 he might get this season, but he won't get unless we invest in January. And if the board were really serious about Ten Hag, and I've completely lost my point in the tangent, so sorry for the pause, they would go and spend in January. They would go and get him that right back. So Dalot, we don't have to put that pressure on Dalot, because Dalot's going to burn out. He is going to get injured. I love Dalot, but something could happen. And he's a massive part of our squad. And he does not rate Wan-Bissaka. He does not want Wan-Bissaka. Something could happen to Dalot. Poof, that was a big hole in Erik Ten Hag's plans. Big, big hole. They need to get that back up, right back in that Ten Hag wants. They need to get that other attacker in, because Anthony's injured. Anthony Martial is always injured. And Sancho's ill and not playing well. And Rashford's doing great, but Ronaldo's not at the top of his game. Alanga needs a loan. Garnacho, he's rough. Look at the lack of attackers we have. And I think, look at Ten Hag. Look at the situation we're in. Look at that he could get top 4. Look at what he's doing with the club and go, this is the manager we need to back. This is the manager we need to give everything to. And go and give Ten Hag what he wants in January. That is my thought process on it. That is my thought process on it overall, if I'm being honest as well. Wan-Bissaka's kind of became a Jose Mourinho right back, sadly. Yeah, he has as well. And can we only buy in Jan if we sell CR7, Donny and Bissaka? That is United's mindset. United could buy in January. The board don't want to. I think the board will only buy in January if they sell players. Now, Ten Hag, I think, wants Wan-Bissaka gone. I believe that Ronaldo wants to go. And the only way that United do stuff in January is if that happens. We know from Ornstein that if Ronaldo goes, because of how much we save on the wage bill, it's likely that we go sign someone in January. But unfortunately, United aren't just going to go out there and sign another attacker and sign a right back what we need. United are going to wait till the summer if they can and see if they get any money. It was said by Luckhurst that the bulk of Manchester United squad activity in the winter is likely to revolve around contract extensions and possible renewals, with decisions to be made on the deals of David De Gea, Diego Dalot, Luke Shaw, Fred, and Marcus Rashford. So this is also news coming out that the bulk of United squad activity in the winter is likely to revolve around contract extensions and possible renewals, with decisions to be made on the deals of David De Gea, Diego Dalot, Luke Shaw, Fred, and Marcus Rashford. So again, it seems that United are more focused on renewing contracts than actually signing players in January, which is sad because we know that Ten Hag wants players in January. Ten Hag's basically said 3 times that he wants players in January. And it was also said, the final thing that Luckhurst did come out and say regarding all of this news, people as well, that he's been told, is Luckhurst did come out and say that the United Academy is expected to arrange loans for certain members in need of senior football before the window closes. So from what Samuel Luckhurst is hearing inside United, he's coming out saying United are unlikely to spend it in January. They're going to wait until the summer. If Wan-Bissaka goes, they might just recall Ethan Lair from loan. Whilst if Ronaldo goes, United are likely to reinforce in January. However, because there's a lack of options for Ronaldo, he's saying Ronaldo's unlikely to go in January. He's then saying that we will be more focusing on renewing contracts in January and giving academy players loans than bringing players in. And I think right now, from what I'm hearing, is that basically Ten Hag wants Frimpong. United are ready to wait until the summer and throw him under the bus. I'm also hearing Ten Hag wants Gakpo. I'm hearing Ten Hag wants an attacker. But United are depending that on the whole Ronaldo situation. And today's video was titled, "Who's the first January signing?" And for me, it's Gakpo or someone if Ronaldo leaves. It's no one if Ronaldo stays, from what we're really starting to hear. Jude Bellingham not worth more than £70 million. I agree as well. Mink said he'd sell Fred. I'd sell Fred. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I would potentially sell Fred as well. De Gea needs a new contract. Yes and no. I think Ten Hag wants to bring in Diogo Costa of Porto, but De Gea has been so good this season. It's hard to let go of as well. But I think Diogo Costa's in his long-term plan as well. And true that we do have to sell to spend, which is annoying. And if Maguire gets quicker, he will be back. Watch the film. He needs to get his confidence book. Look, the thing is, I'm going to say this now, and I've always said this about Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire isn't as bad as everyone thinks. I'm not saying Harry Maguire's a good centre-back. He's not Varane. He's not Lisandro Martinez, but he's a Premier League level centre-back. Harry Maguire, if he's United's third choice centre-back, I have no problem with it. My problem with Harry Maguire is, one, Harry Maguire is Man United captain. Harry Maguire is not a captain. Harry Maguire has never been captain material. And in my opinion, Harry Maguire will never be a captain. My main problem with Harry Maguire was that he was captain of United. My second problem with Harry Maguire was that he was playing every week. He was playing crap and still playing. And because Maguire was playing crap, I know from when Maguire's been good for United, I know from when Maguire was good for England, that Harry Maguire is an all right centre-back. He's not as bad as we think. He's not god awful, but in current form, he has been god awful. My mindset with Harry Maguire has always been, I don't mind Maguire as United's third choice centre-back, because I know he can be good for us. I know there's a good player in there. We've seen it for England, we've seen it for United in the past. My problem with Maguire is, one, that he's captain, and two, that he used to play week in, week out, no matter how crap he was. Now, Varane and Martinez are starting every week. Varane and Martinez are starting every week, and then here and there, Maguire comes in for rotation. Got no problem with it. 100% got no problem with it, because Maguire's a decent centre-back. The problem is, when you spend 80 million on a centre-back and they become your third choice centre-back, that looks like shit for the club. That looks like shit for the club. But right now, I like Maguire. I like Maguire right now, because he's only going to play if he plays well, because Ten Hag's got so many options. He's not pushing the Sandro Martinez out the team. And you know what? It gives Maguire a kick up the bum. You're not untouchable anymore. You're not untouchable under Ten Hag. And I like that. And a lot of people will say, sell Maguire, sell Maguire, sell Maguire. I'd be more than down to sell Maguire in the summer if we bring in a replacement. But I've got no issue with Harry Maguire, because he's only playing if he has to play, if he deserves to play. And at the moment, he doesn't. And if he's third choice centre-back for United, I'm happy to have Maguire at United. I just didn't like Maguire when he was playing every game, when he was constantly crap. But I also think we need to take captain's armband off him, because I will say this now and I'll say it again, he's not a captain. Martial is back, people, but Martial is not involved tomorrow. Martial's still not fully fit and will not be travelling to Spain for the game tomorrow. And as Gaz says, guys, we have over 400 people watching, so please do go ahead and smash that like button. If you have not smashed that like button, what are you doing, people? Let's get into the team news ahead of the Real Sociedad game. Let's get into the lineup, the team news, and everything regarding the Real Sociedad game, people. So this is the team news regarding Manchester United versus Real Sociedad. The travelling squad here. So as you can see, the attackers are Ronaldo, Rashford, Elanga, Sholotiri, and Garnacho because of injuries to Anthony Martial, and of course, Sancho is ill. We've got Igbo in there as well. We've got a lot of people in there. And I want this last part of the video, to really be looking at how United are going to line up. I disagree. Maguire is actually as bad as we think. Stop it, Alice. A lot of people would disagree and say Maguire's a championship player. Maguire, for me, is a mid-table Premier League player that I don't mind being a bench player for United, not regular starter. That's what I mean. But I don't think he's god-awful. But that's just my opinion as well. But Maguire's not better than Lindelof. No, I didn't say Maguire's better than Lindelof. I would still play Lindelof over Maguire. Maguire's our worst centre-back. But yeah, when are we going to play shitty Dubravka? I don't know, because De Gea is so good. I don't even know why we got Dubravka. But let's get into the lineup for United versus Real Sociedad, people. Are we going to see Donny? Now, Donny could be playing against Aston Villa because of the Bruno injury. Now, I believe we'll see David De Gea in goal because it's a must-win game. You've got to remember, this Sociedad game, we want to win it, so we don't have to play the Barcelonas in the round of 32. So I believe that he's going to go quite strong. I believe he could play Malacia, but I believe he's going to go with Shaw. I believe it will be Martinez, and I believe because Lindelof has been ill, I believe it will be Maguire. I believe it will be an unchanged back five for Sociedad. We know Casemiro is starting. We know Eriksen will start. And because Bruno's not playing at the weekend, there's no point to rest Bruno, so we know Bruno's starting. I think it's going to be a relatively unchanged squad to the squad that played against whoever we beat, West Ham. Now, Rashford will play on the left. Ronaldo will play up top. I think the one change from the game against West Ham is going to be on the right-hand side. I think the one change we're going to see is massively going to be on this right-hand side. Now, I don't think Elanga deserves to keep his place, and I don't think Ten Hag, we know Ten Hag, if a player plays poor, Ten Hag drops them, they very rarely keep their place. And I don't think Elanga will keep his place. I don't think Elanga deserves to keep his place. However, it's interesting because Garnacho is a left winger like Rashford. I might think we could see a bit of Pelestri. I don't know what he's been like in training. There's a small part of me that thinks we'll see Pelestri. There's a small part of me that thinks we'll see Pellistri, but there's also a part of me that thinks we'll see Bruno on the right, and potentially, because he's going to play in the Premier League, because Bruno can't play in the Premier League, Ten Hag experiments with Donny or McTominay, because he did play McTominay as a 10 weirdly the other day. I think we'll either see someone like Pellistri given a go on the right, or Garnacho given a go on the right, or Bruno goes to the right, and we see someone like Donny or McTominay come in there. Like, that is my general lineup prediction as well. But let me know as well. Bruno has a 5-card ban for Villa, but Bruno will play against Real Sociedad. He can't play against Villa and all of that as well. But I think both Rashford and Eriksen will start for United, most definitely as well. But guys, look, I am going to end the live stream here. I want to just say big up to everybody tuning into the live stream. Do you think Ten Hag will give the youth a chance? I think because all the games are important, that's why. But please do smash the like button on the way out. Thank you for watching, guys. Subscribe down below. And yeah, and big up everybody in the chat as well. And hope Bruno plays right wing and Donny central. I think we could see this, but as I did say on the way out, I am going to end the live stream here. I just want to say there could be a morning video tomorrow. There might definitely be a morning video tomorrow. Big up everyone in the chat. Can't see Pellistri. I can't either, but I just think Elanga wasn't good enough. Garnacho's not a right winger. Maybe Pellistri, but I could more see what's on the screen. But I did want to say, guys, smash the like button. Of course, subscribe if you're new. There could be a morning video out tomorrow, depending on news. If not, I will be live for the Sociedad watch along 5 p.m. tomorrow. So do subscribe on the way out. Big up everybody. Share the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and bye.